Good evening, I'm Marie Mortera. Icon, visionary, one of the builders of modern Las Vegas. Descriptions of Sheldon Adelson, who died last night at the age of 87. Our Jeff Gillen looks at the legacy Adelson leaves behind in Las Vegas. Jeff?
That's right. Good evening, everybody. As much as anybody, he made Las Vegas the city it is today.
On the Strip, his resorts honor the man who made them possible. Sheldon Adelson died last night. He was 87, losing a battle to Non-Hodgkins Lymphoma, a type of blood cancer. Farewell, my darling, my one true love. After gaining and giving so much, you have earned this rest, said his wife Miriam in a statement. To look at our skyline today is to look at a city whose business bottom line was changed by this scrappy, pugnacious, and blunt businessman.
He created a segment of the industry that changed Las Vegas, was the convention and meeting business.
That's gaming expert Howard Stutz, who talks about Adelson's lasting Las Vegas contribution. He perfected our convention industry, which fills rooms midweek.
And that is what drove Las Vegas to now where, pre-COVID, where we are, where 65% of the revenues come from non-gaming sources.
Adelson's convention clout began through his ownership of Comdex, the huge computer show he brought to Las Vegas in 1979. Years later, he sold Comdex, pocketing $500 million. He bought the Sands, built the Sands Expo Center, imploded the Sands, built the Venetian and the Palazzo. His gaming empire also grew to Asia. He was one of the first Las Vegas gamers to plant a flag in Macau. Asia became his financial engine, providing his company almost 70% of its revenue. Adelson was worth billions. He lost billions in the Great Recession. He made billions back in the big recovery. At his death, he was worth $27 billion, according to Forbes. A huge donor to Republicans. He was the GOP's single largest donor in 2012. He was Donald Trump's biggest donor in 2016. In Las Vegas, he was a philanthropist, primarily to Jewish causes. Stephanie Tuzman is with Jewish Nevada.
They founded the Adelson Educational Campus here in Las Vegas, founded and built that school.
The Adelsons donated $25 million to that campus. They've donated hundreds of millions to other causes, too. Sheldon Gary Adelson was born in 1933 in Boston, into a two-bedroom apartment where he slept on the floor. It was a tough upbringing that taught him lessons about how to make a buck and how to keep it. He grew up tough, and that didn't change, says UNLV's Michael Green.
Sheldon Adelson, love him or hate him, you knew where he stood.
And Sheldon Adelson will be buried in Israel. There will be a memorial service later here in Las Vegas. I'm Jeff Gillen, News 3.
Jeff, thank you. In the meantime, we have this visual honor for Adelson, a live look now from Sky 3. This coming from the properties he built, the Venetian and Palazzo Towers. There you can find a dimming of exterior lights, and through 6 p.m., Las Vegas resort marquees up and down the Strip and all the way down to Allegiant Stadium will display what's being described as a unified tribute once again that goes through 6 p.m. The condolences have been pouring in. This one from U.S. Congressman Stephen Horsford. He says, in part, quote, his legacy will live on through the Adelson Educational Campus and the Adelson Clinic, and Nevadans will continue to benefit from his generosity. I send my condolences to the entire Adelson family during their time of grief. And the U.S. Chamber of Commerce just releasing this. Sheldon Adelson was an iconic business leader who exemplified the achievement of the American dream. In his life and work, from the humblest of beginnings, he built an enterprise and fortune that he readily shared with people in need and the causes he cared about.